This introductory chapter introduces these elements, and chapters 2 through 4 dig into the details and show how to apply them in your project environment. The second half of the book examines when to use these three elements for control throughout the life of a typical project. The Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK Guide, from the Project Management Institute, identifies 5 process groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Chapters 5 through 9 map these topics, describing how to better control your project from its beginning to its end. Where the PMBOK Guide tends to assume that a project manager has formal power, the discussion throughout this book focuses on controlling project work even when you do not have such direct authority. Each chapter begins by outlining the principal concepts for that chapter, then explores each idea in detail using examples. Each of chapters 2 through 9 concludes with a summary of key ideas, and Chapter 10 summarizes the fundamental ideas of the book and offers some final thoughts on applying them to your projects. This book contains many ideas, far more than any single project would ever need. The advice ranges from tips useful on small projects to ideas for dealing with the complexity of large, multi-team programs. Listen to the book using your own judgment to determine which ideas are the most effective and helpful for your specific situation. To get started, pick an idea or two from each section that you think will help you with your project. When you encounter a problem, use the table of contents in the accompanying PDF to locate pointers to deal with it, and adapt the practices outlined there to move things back under control. Don't overcomplicate your project with processes that aren't needed. If 2 approaches to a project issue are equally effective, always choose the simpler one. Elements of project control. Every project leader has a number of levers available that increase project control. 3 principal elements of control are: 1. Project processes, 2. Influence, 3. Metrics, measurement. Project processes provides the structure necessary for control and can serve as an effective substitute for organizational authority. You can build influence in many ways, and the more you are able to sway, encourage, or win over those you are working with, the better you will be able to control your project. Measurement quantifies results and drives behavior. So, metrics are useful for both understanding the status of your project and encouraging cooperation. With these 3 techniques, you can control and be successful with any type of project. Project processes. Some years ago, a good friend celebrated a 50th birthday at a bowling alley with about 100 friends. Names are withheld to shield the guilty. Because most of us in attendance were of roughly the same age, and few had bowled more than once in the previous 3 decades, the initial frames we bowled were spectacularly pathetic. In the intervening years, the gutters on either side of the lanes seemed to have developed an almost magnetic attraction for bowling balls. Some people were halfway through their initial game and still trying to knock down their first pin. Fortunately, the alleys had bumpers on either side, which we soon flipped into position on almost all of our lanes. These bumpers ran the length of the lane over the gutters, so balls that would have otherwise fallen out of play were bounced back onto the lane. With more balls rolling toward the pins, if not exactly in the center of the alleys, scores improved dramatically. Good processes for projects are analogous to bumpers in bowling. Well-defined processes, properly applied, keep projects from rolling off into the gutter. Project processes are a source of substantial control, and they are usually owned by project leaders because much of the work is their personal responsibility. Early in a new project, a project leader can easily influence even project processes that others own as they are being established. Most people can recall the